or whenever it's time.
Yeah.
We both are here. So yeah.
So I'll just introduce myself. So I am Shubham, and me and Aditi are going to moderate this deep dive, and we want to extract a lot of things, and sorry, as many things as possible. And so maybe the first few questions I can ask, and then I'll allow all of you to ask more questions.
Shubham, just before we start, I just want to get a collective sense on the
Yes.
sense of language out here. Is everyone okay with English, or because of course the first thing we kept it as English, but there is something specific. Okay, great. I think so. I am just assuming that we are good with English. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I think I'll just want to not ask questions. Does anybody has a very burning question they want to ask Aditi? Sorry, Arti and Sonal.
Should we write in the chat or speak?
Uh, if you have a burning question, you can speak also. Like, be articulate. Take as less time as possible. That's the only rule.
How do you convince all those traditional, traditionalists?
So sorry, I just couldn't hear. I could hear just the first part.
No, I mean, how do you convince, the traditionalists, including the pundits or your grandparents or parents, whatever, to accommodate the new concept?
Okay.
Or how do you collaborate between the two? Maybe you're not doing away with either. Probably you're bringing in both. So how do you do it? Could you just elaborate?
Yes. Thank you, Anjum. Sonal, you want to take or should I take this question? Okay, I'll go ahead and maybe Sonal can add. So it's a very so when we started our work, we were absolutely worried with this question that in a society where ceremonies and religious you know ceremonies are considered to be a very delicate thing, like people don't know, people have a lot of fear also attached to it, as well as faith. So where there is faith, there is always fear, and to touch that, it is very tough. And I think we also might not know what is. I don't see that doing traditional ways or traditional ceremonies are right or wrong. So when we went and ventured out and started to speak to people, we never said that don't do what you are doing. Like we never negated what they were doing. We just said that, okay, you're doing everything, but is it still like, do you really want to add a little bit more meaning to what you are doing, right? Like we won't disturb what you are doing or what your parents feel is the right way to get married. Please go ahead with that. But can you still in that whole scenario uh, add more purpose and meaning to it? So I think our conversations were coming from that space to not negate the traditional systems, but to maybe add more meaning to what it can be, you know. So yes, Sonal, do you want to add to that?
I would just like to add that like Arti said, that the attempt is never to negate the traditional systems. So most of the times, like we have been doing like parallel ceremonies also. So because the traditional ceremonies, it has an emotional attachment. So that also happens, and along with it, there's also a parallel ceremony that happens, which is more about what the bride and groom really represent. So that is there. But as our work is growing, we have also been it's a very pleasant change that I'm seeing, that we have also been getting requests from couples who don't want to do the traditional ceremony at all, like who are like, no, we really want to do something that really means to us, and that is it. So that is something very pleasant that has been coming up just very recently. Such requests have been coming up very recently, and that's all I wanted to share. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I'll contact you guys for my daughter's wedding.
Please do, please do.
On that note, I just wanted to add, like, how did you get the first 3 people you worked with, or like, how did you reach there, the first 3?
Okay, so I'll answer that. So we had a Christmas party at my place, and me and Arti were, we were having conversations about doing this for maybe 10-15 days or so. And in that party, we happened to share that idea with a few of our friends who had come, and one of them was about to get married. In the coming few months. So she was like, you know what, guys, you should do this, and I'm your first client. So we did her wedding, and it was a super hit. So we got the next 2 weddings from her wedding itself. Like one of her cousin came, and then somebody else also. So yeah, the first few weddings have definitely been a word of mouth thing, because we were also not very sure of how big we want to do this. So we were not extensive anything. But the word just spread, and we got a first few clients.
Sorry for hogging up the space, but how do you differ from a wedding planner? I mean, do you go into writing like invitation cards to everything, or is it different?
So technically, like, we don't do the wedding planning stuff really. Like, until now, the weddings that we have done, we haven't done the wedding planning stuff. We just do specific ceremony. We just do the ceremony part, like just 1 or 2 ceremonies, whatever the clients want. So we just intervene there just to host that particular ceremony, and to organize everything around it, like maybe to the setup, how the setup should be for that ceremony. So we work with the event planners and with the decorators, and not do everything ourselves. But we are also looking into taking that step a little further, because also, like, there are very few vendors who would do a green wedding or a eco-friendly wedding, and if we want to develop something like that in the wedding market, so we have been thinking about that. I don't know when we are going to take it up.
I think when the requirement comes.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you be having franchisees? I'll be your first one.
we are always there to expand our team. So yes.
Oh, great. I would love to be part of this.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Anybody else wants to ask anything else? I ask a lot of questions, so don't wait for me.
You're on mute, Shubha.
I think Anushi has to ask something.
Go ahead.
Anushi?
Okay. I can hear. I would also like to know if you studied event management or something. I mean, how did you shift here? So I think both of us have not done any sort of formal training in event management. But I think the background of, I think, getting exposed to a lot of meaningful spaces, like as Sonal said, the way they got married in an ashram, or I was a part of Swaraj University, so I got an opportunity to be a part of many meaningful spaces where there was a sense of deep connection. And that's when I realized that the events or the celebrations can be experienced very differently, and in a more I think more deeply, I would say, rather than just like superficial ways of celebrating anything. There can be meaningful ways to do these celebrations, and through these experiences, I think those experiences have helped us to curate what we curate with our clients or our with people whom we work with.
On that note, maybe similar lines, who did you get support from once you started this?
So,
Whichever way, in whichever way.
So we've been really fortunate that way. Like, we were both in a space where we could experiment with our careers that time. Like, I'm an architect, and I run an architecture firm with my husband. So he was the biggest support, definitely, because he was like, okay, fine, I'm going to take care of this for a while. You go explore your thing. So that was there. And yes, in a way, I just expanded from designing spaces to designing ceremonies. And our families also have been a big support. Like, whoever we pitched this idea to was like, this is really a brilliant idea. Go for it. So yes, and the first few
Awesome.
clients also, because the way they, like I said, that the first wedding was where we got the next few clients. So even they have been a big support, I would say.
Yeah,
Want
I
to add
Hmm.
think,
something, Arti?
yeah, I think if you consider initial, I would say the first year is the initial support where which any sort of company or organization needs. So of course, family, the closest family has been the biggest support and pillar because they were the ones who encouraged us also to do more and more of this, and believed in what we were doing. But also, like there was one patch I would also acknowledge that we did a lot of small, I would say, launches in different cities, like in Jaipur and Bombay and Delhi and Pune, and like multiple cities where we went and we were sharing about this idea and did small launches. And it's amazing that when we talk about capital, there is also something called social capital, which we surely leveraged whenever we went to these spaces and did our launchings. So someone offered us a space, someone offered that, okay, we'll spread the word in the city and you just come and organize this launch. So there were so many, like there were friends who were photographers and they were like, okay, we'll come and capture your event. So I think so many friends in different directions, friends of friends, acquaintances, just came in and they were like, okay, we are there to support you and you do this. So I think in that sense, we surely leveraged our social capital to the maximum in the first year. So I would definitely have a deep gratitude for all those people and spaces.
Yeah. So, uh, this is a question which is coming from the chat, which is like, how long have you been doing this? And one thing maybe I want to add is, how have you seen your journey?
So I think it's been almost 1.5 years now, Arti. I don't
Yes.
remember the exact time when we started. But yeah, almost 1.5 to 2 years since our first project. And so, like I said, if you ask me about the journey, like I said, when we really started, we didn't know where we want to take this. It was just an idea which emerged from Arti's wedding that, we really want to offer this to more people and it should happen. So the first wedding was just like that because our friend agreed to be our first client. So we did it. Once that happened, then we were like, yeah, this is going to work. Let's work on it more. So then for some time we just took, we were like, we're just going to sit and we are going to think this through. And we are going to plan how we really want to project our this initiative. So that happened. Like we did some brainstorming. There was another partner with us that time. It was three of us. Then eventually she was like, I'm not able to give my time or my energy at this point of time. So then we came back to being the two of us. So yes, there have been ups and downs, definitely. There have been times when we thought that, no, this is not, we are deviating from what we really wanted to do. We are taking up something that we were not, that is not the base of our work, or our values are getting shaken somewhere. So we always have to, like, go back to where it all, what is the most important thing for us. And
Hmm.
it also relates to the previous question in terms of who supported us. So we realized that whenever we needed support, because like none of us have been professionally educated or trained in this particular field, and in fact this is a field which you have very few examples around us, so there's very little to learn from. It's more like learning from doing. There's very less in terms of what to see around and learn from that. So ideally there cannot be any practical or there cannot be any formal education in this at this point of time. But we always realize that whatever aspect of this whole industry or this whole initiative we wanted to learn, there were people who were ready to teach that, or who are ready to help us with that. For example, like a business is not just about the idea itself, it's about a lot of other things, like how you present it, how you market it, how you deal with the clients, all of that. So we got help from professionals in different fields like that. Like, I remember Arti went for a writing workshop because we were getting stuck with writing our how to talk about ourselves. We didn't know how to talk about ourselves at that point. So from there we have come to here, where we are happily sharing with you all our journey till now.
Also to add
Yes.
to the idea of journey, I think it is very, very, it is like, every month is like an unknown zone when we enter, and especially after the whole corona thing, we were like, now what to do? Like, things have completely changed now. How do we want to enter this space? How do we want to position ourselves? So there were a lot of ups and downs, but luckily we never expected, but we got around 10 to 12 projects in the first season where we just like pitched in like to people. And that's where I realized that a lot of couples are facing the same questions which I faced when I was getting married, like, the same fundamental questions. So with listening to more of these stories, we also understood that the need of what we want to provide is there. We just need to kind of spread our word. So yes, so yeah, yeah, we are still
Definitely.
learning. I think there's so much more to learn. Every day we think of new strategies and new ways of putting ourselves out. So yes.
Hmm. True. Deepshika wants to ask something. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
I wanted to ask a question related to COVID itself, so this falls nicely. But
Mhm.
before that, I would really like to congratulate you because this is such a great idea, and it's not hard to believe that once, because the idea itself is so strong. If you just tell it to somebody, it has its own legs. Like people would be willing for that because a lot of people are looking for it. So this sounds like a very, really awesome idea. So I have two questions. One was on the COVID part itself, like how are you managing ceremonies in these times? And have you moved online already, or are you planning to move online? And my second question is, apart from marriages, what are the other types of ceremonies that you have done so far or plan to do in future? Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Deepshika. Okay, I'll take the first part, Sonal, you take the second. Yes, the first thing which you asked was COVID. The last 6 months, we weren't able to do any ceremony because we couldn't, like the first 4 months, the weddings didn't happen, and now they're happening, and it's too risky and all of that. So we haven't ventured out yet to do ceremonies. And on the part of online, I'm not sure if we want to do things like online right now, because the idea of uh, really gets diluted when things happen online, when we are talking about deeper connections and creating a powerful space. To conduct something online is tough, I would say. But yes, we are here to solve. We have opened ourselves to people, and we have asked them that, if you have family and friends who can help conduct these ceremonies, we can do all the back end work for you, we can design it for you, we can sort of sit with you and help you arrive at your vows. And someone from your family can host it, so that there is that intimate connection when they are doing that ceremony. So we are definitely open for that, but not like conducting things online.
So I would also like to add like what we have been doing for the last few months,
Mm.
because since the ceremonies and weddings were not happening, we thought that it's a good time to delve into strengthening relationships in general. Like our whole attempt of taking this step of meaningful ceremonies was to create meaningful relationships in the end. So we've been doing a lot of webinars with people on meaningful relationships in the past few months, and the response has been really nice, wonderful. So the recent one that's on is breaking stereotypes, where we are sharing stories of couples who are breaking stereotypes in their own marriage in a lot of ways. So that has been happening. Also, we are working on some products, so that should be out soon. Let's see. And about your other question, the second question, which was
What are the other ceremonies?
yes, so the other ceremonies that we have done till now are baby showers. We have done. We have done like
Bachelorettes.
huh?
Bachelorettes,
Yes,
seeing
we
off
have done.
ceremonies.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Ki, you know, around the wedding itself, we have done bachelorette also. We have done welcome of the bride also. Then baby shower we have done, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We're also looking to do anniversaries. We haven't done till now, but we would love to.
Renewing
Yeah,
the vows.
yeah, that was very interesting. And I like the two aspects. The one that you said, that strengthening the relationships part is one. And I also like the one that you previously said in the previous Zoom thing, that ceremony is being a gateway from moving from one phase to another, especially in this time of transition. I think
Right.
that would be a great thing to have. Like, we have to adapt fast, and having these kind of ceremonies would be amazing. So I might reach out to you around that aspect offline. So yeah.
Yes, I have
Thank
left
you.
my number in the chat box, so please
Awesome.
reach out to us if you want.
Perfect. I'll get it. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Yeah. So, any further questions?
Yeah. Don't give me chances.
We have a lot
Hi
of people
everyone.
here.
Karishma is
Hi
starting.
everyone. Yeah, so I have a question. So you're telling you do events on, which are more meaningful. So for example, you do a baby shower. So what in that thing were you able to, what is that meaningful thing you exactly did there? Like, what is that element that you added? So just wanted to be more, I want you to be more specific. So I'm really fascinated by the idea. Already messaged my friend, see, check this out, this page is so cool. I'm attending a session. So yeah, I'm really, I got really excited looking at all the idea.
Thank you.
Thank
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
It's Cherishma. It's Cherishma.
Cherishma. Okay, great. Thank you. Just you guys telling that the idea is like excites you makes me feel excited that I'm more positive about what we do. So thank you for sharing that. So when you say specifically when you were sharing about baby showers and what we want to do meaningfully in there, so I can just share you one example of how we did a baby shower. So maybe that gives you a glimpse of what we are really talking about. So basically, one of the baby showers which we did was like we basically sat with the couple and we understood what are the elements first of all they want for their baby shower. So I think this friend of mine, she shared that I really want me, my family and my child to be blessed, like with authenticity, like people are just there to really bless me and the child. And the second question I asked them was that, okay, like you are entering a phase of being a parent. So, what are the values you would want to grow as a parent? So they said that, we would want freedom in our relationship with our child, or we would want a particular way of raising, like this is a particular value with which we want to raise our child. So like that we did a small interview with them and we sort of put all these points together. Now as Sonal shared, that metaphors are all about, sorry, ceremonies are all about metaphors, right? So now what we do is that we see that how these values can be sort of threaded to a particular metaphor and how can we bring that value out aloud and more and put life into it with a metaphor. So for example, she wanted that this baby shower is a new phase in my life. So how can I like feel fresh about it? So we did like we washed her legs, then we washed her a friend of hers, she came and she washed her legs, and with rose water and then some milk and all of that, and she just there was this whole idea that she was entering a new phase in her life. Then we use different threads to kind of bring the idea of different values of what they want to be, how do they want to grow as parents. So basically we used a lot of metaphors to bring their values, their intentions aloud in the baby shower. And there was also a space where all the closest family and friends were completely there to bless the whole family. So we curated that space also, where not just the couple or the mother, but everyone who is attending that ceremony feels conscious, feels completely present during that ceremony. So we sort of curate the whole 45 minutes likewise. I don't know if that answers, but it's
Yes,
always
yes,
difficult to
yes.
answer this question.
Yeah, yeah. I think you need to put in a lot of creativity in less amount of time, and like to understand the person you're doing also. I think as much as it's like a event, there's a lot of technicality that you should add. So yeah, it was nice to listen to this. Thank you so much. Mhm.
Could I ask something?
Sure.
What is the time you take to plan one event? Right from talking to
So
the concerned people to the.
So it varies from ceremony to ceremony. Like we offer a lot of ceremonies even during wedding. It's not just limited to the main just the vows saying ceremony. We offer a lot of ceremonies even during wedding. Like in our Indian culture also there are so many ceremonies around a wedding, before a wedding, after a wedding. So they all have a flavor of their own. They all have a certain emotion of their own. So we also offer a lot of weddings a lot of ceremonies that are designed around various emotions. For example, like we could do a blessing ceremony where the whole intention would be to receive blessings in a, in the most authentic way. You are in a space to receive. The one who's giving is in a space to give true blessings, like that. So this way there are a few ceremonies that we do. So the time taken also depends on what kind of ceremony we are doing and how much involvement is the couple putting in. The involvement of the couple is of prime importance, of course, because that's a whole concept here, that it has to represent them. So that but we ideally say, like, if we start at least 2 to 3 months in advance, that's a good enough time to put things together. Yes. I see a question that has in the chat box from Anushri. Do you want us to take that up?
Yes, yes. I think you covered slightly, but go ahead.
Yeah. So Anushri, I think we'll just explain. Arti, do you want to take this or should I go on?
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just explain the process. I think we've already spoken about it, but I'll still go through with an example so that it's more clear about, how we do the ceremony and how it is different from a traditional one. So the first and foremost thing is to get to know the clients, to get to know our clients. So we do, whichever way is comfortable for them, through a phone call or through a written questionnaire, whichever way is comfortable. The first step is just to get to know the clients really well. Like, what is it that they connect with? What is it that their relationship, reflects? All of that. So once we know the crux of their story, the crux of their relationship, and their own personalities also, their connections with the world in general, connections with nature, it's easier to design a ceremony. So once we know that, then we move ahead to designing the first draft of the ceremony, like what we think would be suitable for them or what we think would represent them the best, and we share it with them. Once we share it with them, then we come to know their what they feel about it, their feedback, and then we improvise, and finally we come to a ceremony that they like and we also like in terms of performing it. And it happens on the we go and host the ceremony on the day. In ways it is different from a traditional ceremony is that in a traditional ceremony you would not know what represents what. You will just be sitting there, like, how traditionally ceremony is, you don't know from before how it is going to happen or what it is going to happen or what it means. You sit there and there is a pandit who does the ceremony for you, who performs the ceremony for you, so you don't actively get involved in it. You are asked to put something into the fire. I'm just saying the most common, like Hindu rituals of a wedding. You're asked to put something in fire and you do that. The fire is supposed, the fire is holy. The fire is considered the holy symbol here. But for different people, different symbols can be holy. Like we came across a bride who said that, I've always had an aversion towards rituals because all Indian rituals happen around a fire. There's always a home, just say, what we call as home. So she said, but I'm allergic to smoke. So sitting for a ceremony gives me headache. So why should I do a ceremony that involves fire? So we said, well, it's completely fine. And she loves water. She shared with us that we both, like herself and her groom, she said we both love water. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So she said both of us we love water. And their relationship also started around water, scuba diving, all of that. They met at somewhere doing scuba diving, something like that. So the entire ceremony for them, the central element was water. Now it was very easy for them to, accept that as holy and sacred because there was a true connection with that element. And then whatever they did with it was with their true intentions pouring down into it. So that's how it is different from a traditional ceremony because everything that happens here comes from your own experience, comes from your own likes and dislikes, comes from your own connections with things around you. Yeah, I hope I have answered the question.
This time I have a burning one.
Sure.
So, much more around this is a livelihood. How has it supported you financially enough? What else do you do? Something on those lines.
Yeah,
I
that's a
posted
tricky
the
one.
same question in my chat.
Yes.
I posted a similar one in my chat. Because I talked about gift culture and how does this fit in that.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
Anjum, so we did our first, I think, 3 or 4 ceremonies, Sonal, on gift culture. Like literally gift culture. So we actually told people, like, uh, uh, are you there, Sonal? I don't know. Okay, great. So we did couple of our initial, because we also didn't know how to price it and what would people and how would people value something like this. So that has always been like a question, was a question when we started. So we started with gift culture as an idea, and but soon we realized that like in the literal sense of gift culture, and when we tell people that pay as you wish, it somehow doesn't work to the psychology of how people receive it. For them, they are not as much aligned to the idea of gift culture as we do. Like we would do anything. I like personally, I would say if irrespective of money or no money, our involvement is same. So but it wasn't received very well by the people who were taking our services. They were like, this is very ambiguous. You please let us know a range or whatever. And that would help us to take a decision of if we would want you to be a part or not. So that's when we started to sort of, monetize it in a way that we kept a standard price and for different ceremonies and all of that. We also had to learn this through with a lot of experiences. In terms of monetizing it, I think the last season was pretty okay. Like we had like 10 to 12 weddings projects, but since it's something very new, and people haven't experienced something like this, they don't have the risk capacity to pay for it, a lot of money for it, because they're any which ways, it's something which they are also feeling ambiguous about, that how will this go, how will it be taken by the guests who are coming, and all of that. So with those questions, we couldn't, the price point was always like a question mark for us. So but yes, of course, we charged an amount for people to get something like this hosted for their event. The last season was pretty okay, as I said, but of course, after that, after maybe March, there was not much for us. So it is like, ups and downs and all of that, in terms of the monetary input. um, Sonal, you can have a different take on it, so I would like you to also answer it.
Yeah, so that's what I think we experimented also with the way we were, we were running the economy for this whole conscious connections. We experimented with gift culture as well in the first few ceremonies. And so we like to keep a balance between supporting ourselves enough and also being able to do the ceremony for those who, like I remember we had a couple who really wanted to do the ceremony, but then they were financing their own wedding and they were really short on budget and all that. We were like, okay, fine, we'll do it on gift culture. So we take a call on client to client basis, because although supporting the conscious connections financially is important, but we also don't want to lose out on where we see a real connection and a real need. We don't want to let finances become a border or a boundary for them. So yeah, that's how it is. And I feel, again, I would like to say that we have been really fortunate that we have families who really support us, and we are able to take this risk in our lives where um, taking up something like this, which is not actually, it is pretty much even career wise, it's a good career, it's a well paying career, but then it's just that it's not stable, because maybe it's because it is the beginning, and maybe because this COVID thing, I think it has affected all industries, and the wedding industry has taken the biggest hit. So yeah, I would just like to share my gratitude for the support that we receive in these times.
Considering
Yes.
that in India we have such a varied social strata, so have you been able to change a mindset of a very typical, conventional mindset, or is it your clients are already very, educated and, so
Um, Educated, yes. I think most of the clients we have worked with have been educated till now. Like they were mostly well-educated clients only. But I think this is not about education per se. Like you will see the most educated, the
maybe not, that's not the
richest of
right
the
term.
people.
Uh,
Huh?
Maybe that's not the right term. I don't know. Maybe you are only sensitized to something like this, against
Right.
people who are not.
So actually, there are
Yeah,
both.
what you mean is that they really want something like this, for themselves.
Yeah.
uh yeah, Sonal, go for it.
As
Yeah.
against proposing it to some people who are not aware of it, and still
So
responding.
since this is something very new, like you will, if you ask us who's our competition, we won't be able to name another company who's doing same kind of work, because, when we were looking out at our own weddings for someone who would do this for us, we didn't find any. So that's why the whole concept of a personal ceremony is very new to the Indian scenario. Like people don't even give it a thought that this is possible, because there's no exposure to such a thing. So most of the people we have pitched it to, it was a new concept for them. It's not like they were already looking for something like that. But then in terms of being sensitized towards it, definitely being sensitized towards a conscious lifestyle, or towards, taking conscious decisions in life definitely helps convert them into clients more readily. But we've also seen people who want to do this just because, like, one thing is, of course, the unique factor. So people are like, yeah, this looks something unique. So people come for that. But then when they come to know the whole process, then they're like, oh, this is something like, you know, then they get into that thing. So our attempt is, even if they are coming for getting a unique experience, we want to give them a meaningful experience. And most of the times that does happen. So yeah, I would say that there have been all kinds of clients. In fact, like we also did a wedding in a village. So we were very apprehensive, not from the point of view of the clients, but from the point of view of the audience. Because we felt that we don't know if the village crowd will connect to the ceremony or not, if they will even sit and create that kind of atmosphere or not. But I must tell you, they were spectacular. Like all of them took it so beautifully. And it was a ceremony for a couple who both of them are Ayurvedic doctors. So the whole ceremony was designed around their connection with Ayurveda, their connection with themselves, and all of that, the elements, 5 elements of nature, all of that. And maybe they did
Wow.
not understand. Maybe the audience did not understand all of it. But I think they just got a sense of it. They were able to, you know, sense the atmosphere and sense the energy there. So they sat through it like really beautifully. Yes.
How do you involve
Yeah.
the audience besides
What-
the couple? Sorry,
What-
I'm like just.
Maybe I just want to give. So we
How
have
do you
last 2
involve
minutes.
the
If somebody has
Sure.
maybe one more person
I'll
who
just
wants to
quickly
answer.
answer that. How do we involve the audience?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll just quickly answer, Anjum. So basically, with the audience, so the closest family and friends, we literally sort of, you know, if someone wants, so usually a vow ceremony gets combined with a blessing ceremony. You know, so we involve the immediate family, like mummy, like the parents, the grandparents, or the siblings, in a way that they are entering the ceremony and they're blessing the couples in a symbolic way. And for the extended guests, we usually start with, like, so we use a lot of music to put their attention out there. We explain them why we are doing everything, you know, so we have a proper script to sort of keep them involved with the ceremony. And in some parts, we also ask them to stand up and do a gesture, you know. So in different ways, we want to keep the whole audience also. We don't want them to sort of, you know, get to their phones and start clicking pictures. We want them to be there as much as the couple is, like, consciously present. So at sometimes it has been like that actually is the most challenging part to do for conscious connections. Like we actually put our you know, we feel that the ceremony guests are as gripped as the couple is, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's okay, like, and but it's okay because it's such a new trend that even for the guests, they don't know how to behave, you know, like, because usually in a wedding people are chilling, they're talking loudly, and they're just passively there to enjoy whatever it is there. And to to turn that around and for them to actively participate in something is a big mind shift, which requires a lot of other elements to play, you know, well. So yeah, every wedding, that is our attempt, that okay, you know, the audience should be as gripped the as we are or the couples are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we've crossed our time limit. I just want to give maybe one person a chance who wants to definitely ask a thing. I mean, if they want to really ask a question, please go ahead. I am a little bit voice biased, possibly.
How do we work with you?
Good question.
Write to
serious.
us. We'll
Okay,
definitely
go ahead.
want
I live in
our team to
Vadodara.
expand and grow.
Gujaratis are
Why
very
not?
high on weddings.
Yes.
Good market here.
And most of our market is Marwadis and Gujaratis.
So
But we
bang
have done
bang
one
here.
Muslim wedding also, and we have, I think, yeah, we have done one Muslim wedding, one village wedding,
Christian wedding also.
Christian
Wow.
wedding. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm happy that we could do all of these things. I just didn't want to feel stuck up with Marwadis, and because me and Sonal both are Marwadis, so we have like a lot of people who are Marwadis around us.
They have the money.
So
Yeah.
yes, please do write to us and let's see how to collaborate. We would
But
love
we
to
don't
do
have
that
your
whenever.
email. Could you post your
Yes,
email or
I
something
Yes,
like
will.
we would
that?
do that,
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you.
We would put it down.
So, so basically, I have gotten some leeway. We have time till 6:55.
Oh, wonderful.
So, um, maybe we can answer the question somebody asked. Like, did we try any ceremonies for children?
For children,
Yeah.
not
Not
yet.
until now, but I had definitely received one request from a 16-year-old mother that she wanted to do like a birthday for her daughter, because it was her 16th birthday and it was a big birthday, and can we do it more meaningfully, but that didn't happen eventually. But yes, that we definitely got one request, and we were happy. I was very happy to do that, uh, um, because I think it's very interesting that when children are growing, especially from one phase to another, because like a 16 or an 18 is a very big deal, things drastically change. So can birthdays be that meaningful and special for them? Yeah.
True.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Please do
So
have time.
how was the coordination with you and Sonal? So how you both coordinate? How was the coordination between you and Sonal? How you both work, and is there how you divide your projects? I think you come in your own elements. I think how that division happens.
Yeah, we also live in different cities, so that
Yeah.
also matters.
Yeah. I
uh,
think the complexity increased now
course. Also, the
with the different city.
is different because we're in different spaces and we don't meet every day. So yeah, but I think we both have our own strength areas which we have eventually understood. Like I would have my own strength areas and Sonal has her own. And so with every project, I think the designing we definitely do together, because more brains and more creativity is needed to design anything. So none of the projects we do handle alone. We do it together. Like none of the projects we have done solely by ourselves. But so Sonal, you want to add on it, because I am feeling very thirsty and
Okay, go on. So yeah, so actually, I think we just found a very good tempo between ourselves. Like we're not difficult people to work with in that ways. I feel. So being in different cities brings its own challenges, but we figure out a way to schedule ourselves in a way so that we are able to get in touch with each other at least once in a day or once in 2 days, especially when a project is on. So we both take out time from our anything else that's going on in life, and for prioritize on that. And then like Arti said, we both have our own strength areas, so we divide we divide responsibilities depending on project to project. Like for every project we sit together, and we sit together, I mean maybe virtually or in real if it is possible, and we design the ceremony. And then in terms of execution, or in terms of whatever is needed to do in terms of bringing it to life, we divide our responsibilities, and then we report to each other eventually. I think internet has made it a lot easier to work from different places. There are so many beautiful tools out there to keep work coordinated. Something as simple as a Google Drive is such a big tool that we can both put our own stuff out there, and we can see what each either of us has done or found. So that really helps.
I have one burning question.
Go on.
I'll just ask and maybe see how. So one of the questions which normally a lot of people want to ask is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, or you can take longer, or 3 years?
It's a
that's
very
the
interesting question.
question.
Okay, I'll go on. it's a very interesting question because we keep asking ourselves that over and over again. But looking at the kind of people we are, it's really difficult to answer that because we haven't been able to come to a consensus or come to an answer in terms of where do we see ourselves 5 years from now. Because I think we're very spontaneous that ways, and organically grow. Organic growth is what we are looking for. But also, they're not, so maybe not 5-term plans, but there are always like short-term plans, like, you know, what do we want to do in the coming year or like that. And then there's an overall vision that what kind of change you overall want to bring in the society as general. So if you ask me that, like, what kind of impact do you want to create in the next 5 years? I would probably say that, you know, just like a Sangeet or a Mehndi ceremony has become a norm, I would want to see that a meaningful ceremony becomes a norm in our society. A meaningful self-directed or self-designed ceremony becomes a norm in our society. That is the
Wow.
impact we would like to create. And it's not just us, like, you know, people say that if more people start doing this, you will have more competition. We always feel that if that happens, that is the only way to create this impact for the whole country. Otherwise, just ourselves, we can't bring that change as a culture.
Yeah, we definitely need more help and collaborations and connections, because alone it is very tough to do something like this. Yes, Anjum, maybe we can take the last question from
No, you can call me. I just,
you.
you need more people. So in a physical space, then both of you come together from wherever you are.
Yes.
Because you're both different
Yeah,
cities.
so my hometown is Nagpur. So I keep on visiting Nagpur very often, and that's where we meet.
When if there's a
Is
ceremony in
that
a
what you
third,
asked?
no, if the ceremony is in a third place,
Yes, we do travel. We
Oh.
travel wherever the ceremony happens, and we
Yeah.
physically host the ceremony. Like, until now, we have been doing that. But this post-COVID situation, like Arti said, we are looking at, you know, helping a friend or a family member. We are looking at how to help them to host a ceremony. That is also an option that we are exploring right now. But until now, we have always been ourselves going to the ceremony and hosting it ourselves. And both of us travel mostly.
And then we also ask for like families or like their family and friends to help us as volunteers for the. So we usually don't want too many vendors to come in. The better, like the more the family is involved, the better for us, and for the ceremony to come up.
This is
Wonderful.
awesome.
I think you have hit your 655 mark.
And I feel people may have more questions, definitely. So please note down their email ID and their phone number. Yes.
Yeah, please do. Yes, guys, and also please, like, if you know of someone who's getting married around you, also do this one thing for us. Do tell them about us and get us in touch with those people. I have already shared my number in the chat box and the email ID as well. Also, Arti, please share the I've shared the Insta link once. You can share it once more. Yeah.
Awesome.
Superb, guys. Thank you for coming and listening to us. It's always to share our story and relive our journey through all of your questions. And it gives us, at least it gave me a lot of energy today to re-believe in what we are doing. So yes, thank you.
Definitely. It was wonderful chatting with all of you. I'm feeling my spirited, you know, high spirited suddenly after this conversation. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Shubham, for moderating this conversation. Thanks a lot.
I loved it too. I think we just need more of this. We might just contact you for that. And I also want to connect. I think I also want to learn more. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Do give us a call anytime or, anytime.
Sure. So thank you so much. And I'll just check. Aditi, what do we do now? Do we pause recording? What do we do?
I am here. I'm here.
Would it
Okay.
be possible to get a recording of this session for ourselves? Like,
Yeah, we'll share it with the speakers. We will try to. As far as participants, right now we aren't promising that, but we will definitely share the harvests of all the sessions. So what was spoken about on the different points with everybody. So yes, thank you. I listened to it towards the end because I was in and out, but I listened towards the end to you guys, and it was really nice to hear what you guys were sharing. And yeah, thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Aditi. Now we have the hangout space from 7 o'clock onwards, and we have 2 minutes break. So you can, and even if you guys want to grab dinner and come back in 15 minutes, this is an open space for 1 hour now to just chill and get to know each other. So yeah.
And what's after that?
After that, 8 to 9:30 is a workshop.
Okay.
Today's workshop is by Abhishek Thakur from the Blue Ribbon Movement, and he's doing it on how to find your purpose.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. So that's from 8 to 9:30. Aditi, you can stop recording.
Okay.
Thank you.
Manita,
Thank you, Aditi.
Even though we loved the session,
Yeah.
are we allowed to cheat?